I'm 7 weeks postpartum, so mother-in-law started being invasive in my last month of pregnancy. She started coming over constantly uninvited, and it was always the most inconvenient of times as well. Every time I tried to catch up on sleep, she'd be at my door the second I started dozing off. Never failed. I stopped answering the door for her, just to have my husband blow up my phone and say to open the door because his mom was there. Then I went into false labour, and she showed up at the hospital expecting me to let her in the delivery room. She never asked us or anything. She literally showed up during a cervical check, sat down with my husband, put her hand on his leg and said, "I'm just here to hold my baby up." The nurses were frazzled because she literally just walked in like she owned the place. It was 3 a.m, so they were short-staffed and didn't see her walk into the ward. Anyway, I've had a bad taste in my mouth since then. She was told several times that she was overbearing and she would stop for a bit and start back up again when it was forgotten. But after I had the baby, she was showing up easily 3 times a week. I didn't say anything initially because my husband was super anxious and the added support was nice for him, despite being inconvenient and irritating to me, especially given that she has no interest in the baby, but has invited people over here to see the baby without asking. She showed up here with my sister-in-law and my sister-in-law's 2 kids when I was a week postpartum and didn't ask or anything. It's irritating, and 2 weeks ago I finally snapped. I said she needs to stay away for the foreseeable future because I'm tired of her inviting herself into my home and taking up space. She's held the baby twice in the 30-plus times she's been here. She doesn't help us with anything. My husband told her to stay away because I needed space. But last night around 6 p.m. she randomly showed up at our door. I just gotten out of the shower and was hanging out nude in my living room, nursing the baby. My husband asked me to get dressed to let her in for a minute, and I said, absolutely not. I didn't invite her here. He could go outdoors if he wanted, but I'm not getting dressed, so she can come in after showing up uninvited. She said she spoke to my husband, and he told me she had, but he didn't give her a yes on coming over. He told her he would talk to me about it, and she just showed up 2 hours later. He says I'm pushing away his mom for no good reason. I argue that I was forced into this by overbearing and disrespectful behaviour. I say since she doesn't respect me or the baby, she doesn't need to be here right now. He's saying, it's my kid too, I should have a say in who's here. Edit, my husband is 100% spineless when it comes to his mother because she inflicted strong abandonment issues on him, and now he's just happy to have her back in his life. She gave custody of him to her oldest daughter, who was 22 at the time when he was 6, because she wanted to go live with her new boyfriend, who was kid-free. From when he was 6 until he was 17, she only saw him on Thanksgiving and Christmas because she moved to Canada with her boyfriend. She and her boyfriend split up when he was 18 and she moved back in and was actively a part of his life again. He was still living with his sister when I met him at age 21 and we moved in together. We've been together for 6 years. She was only coming over to see us maybe 3 times a year prior to the last month of my pregnancy, when she felt it was necessary to be at our place every other day or every 2 days. He says I'm pushing away his mom for no good reason. Ha ha ha. Oh, you poor, clueless, spineless husband. Not the idiot. In fact, now that you know what works, be naked as much as possible. If she happens to show up when you're wearing clothes, get naked as well. Run around topless, ready for feeding in an instant. Mostly I'm joking, but you'll have to find a way to set decent boundaries here because this could just get weirder as the child ages. Who knows? You just had a baby. Your mate's job is to make your life easier as you're recovering from a very strenuous, challenging year of growing another person, pushing that person out, and making milk for that person. Your husband's job is to care for his wife and child. Full stop. This is a hill to die on. He's afraid his mom will bail again, just like she did when he was 6. He was still a little kid trying to please mommy to make sure she doesn't run away. He needs a therapist like yesterday because he can't be a good parent if his top concern is his mother, and if he's not willing to grow a spine, it's not mommy who's going to run away this time. It's going to be OP and their kid. My son and daughter-in-law married in college and soon had my grandbaby, Shelley. Shelley is a young grammar schooler. Before this Christmas, they lived in an apartment and didn't really decorate due to space. They would celebrate at my place and Shelley loves our tree. It's basically very bright with all the colours of the rainbow. This year I thought it would be different since they bought a home. In the summer I bought some colourful Christmas ornaments for them since I knew decorations are expensive. I babysit every Tuesday, and last Tuesday the tree was up. My son asked me to finish it if I wanted since both parents were busy with work and didn't want the boxes to be out all week. So that's what I did with Shelley. I put up every ornament that was out. Along with the ones I bought, there were a lot of dark-coloured ornaments. Shelley loved it and she spent a long time just looking at it. Yesterday I came back and every single colourful ornament was off the tree. I asked Shelley what happened and her mom, daughter-in-law, took them all off. She was quite upset talking about it. The tree is just dark with basically no colour now. I waited until both of them got home and asked why she removed the ornaments. She responded that she didn't like how they looked. It was too overstimulating for Shelley. Shelley doesn't have any disabilities. I asked if she was serious and she told me she was. At this point, I asked if she was the colour Grinch since she destroyed something Shelley loved. She got really mad and I told her to put it back up for her daughter and that she could deal with colours that didn't match in her home. She called me a jerk. My son is annoyed with me since it's their home. I just can't understand why they would mess with something their daughter loved. Am I the idiot? I don't care that the tree isn't my vision. My issue is them taking away something Shelley loved because it didn't match her mother's aesthetic. Who put their vision over their kids' happiness? You are the idiot, not because you love colour. People have asked me if my outfit came with a dimmer switch. But it's your daughter-in-law's house. You owe her some respect. Why don't you apologise and ask if you could buy a miniature tree for your granddaughter's room? Then take a box of ornaments over and let the granddaughter pick out the one she likes in front of her parents. If the daughter-in-law agrees to the tree but still balks at the balls, then all you can do is have a tree for your granddaughter at your house. You didn't want your mother-in-law decorating your house, did you? You can rainbow your own place. Learn your boundaries. The son asked the mother to do it because they were both so busy. Why can't the daughter-in-law just let her daughter have an enjoyable Christmas? Is that hard to do? I seriously doubt ornaments overstimulated her. That's just what beige moms say so they can live a bland life. Daughter-in-law is the idiot. When they read this story, did anyone immediately think of the sad beige mom on TikTok who spray-painted her kid's Fisher-Price Christmas tree brown and neutrals to match her aesthetic? Yeah, sad beige trees for sad beige children. I feel bad for OP's granddaughter. She apparently loved the tree and it got taken away since it wasn't the right look. I don't get why parents put looks over kids' happiness. It's up for a month. How hard is it to keep the colourful tree up? Those parents also buy expensive biodegradable sand toys in muted pastel colours. But as soon as the kids see a cheap colourful plastic bucket, the expensive stuff becomes entirely uninteresting. I, 27 female, got together with my ex-husband Liam, 33, when I was 19 and he was 24. Our relationship was perfect until we got married 3 years after we got together, and then he started restricting me from many things. He was always the jealous, overprotective type, but never as bad as he got after we got married. He guilt-tripped me into dropping all of my male friends, even cousins. He wouldn't let me go out until he approved what I was wearing, and he threw away all of my even mildly revealing dresses when I was at work one day. But I loved him and stayed with him for 3 years, and during those 3 years I realised that I'm bi, but I never told my husband because I was scared that he would force me to be a shut-in and never even let me hang out with my girls, and that he would make me drop them too. Fast forward, he got worse and worse until eventually I ended up getting a divorce about 2 years ago. It was a messy divorce and he tried his best to slow down the process as much as he could. He also was convinced that I was only divorcing him because I was cheating on him. After all, he'd been so perfect to me, so why would I want to divorce him? It took a while and a lot of therapy for me to trust people again and to start dating again. Eventually, I decided to explore my identity, and now I've been dating a close friend of 5 years, Amy, for about 6 months. I don't know how, but he found out that I'm dating a woman and he's been blasting my socials with spare accounts about how this proves I was cheating on him and how it's unfaithful in general for me to hide my orientation from him. He deserved to know and I'm an idiot for not telling him. He also ended up telling my parents, whom I'm very low contact with for being not good parents, and they're also blasting me with calls and texts about how they didn't raise an unfaithful witch and I shouldn't have hidden it from him. I confided in some friends, and they all say it wasn't unfaithful of me to tell him, but he deserved to know, and now I'm starting to feel like the bad guy. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He was abusing you and you were already isolated. You didn't tell him out of fear for your safety. His reaction, and that of your parents, proves that you made the right decision concerning the divorce and the low contact. You don't need them in your life. They don't deserve you in theirs. He's your ex who is obviously keeping tabs on you. You don't owe him any info. You don't owe him any contact at all. Just be glad you didn't have kids with him. Congratulations on escaping a toxic relationship and putting your life back together. Block him, lock down or delete your social media accounts and move on. Let him fester. It's none of his business or your family's who you date. Just live a happy life with your gal. I, female 28, have a toddler son, and my sister, 32, doesn't have children but has 3 cats and 2 large dogs that she treats as her babies. Yesterday, the 2 of us were talking on the phone and she started talking about how difficult it was to be a mother to pets. She said they were very demanding, messy and noisy, and that she had to wake up early every day to feed and take them for walks, but it was worth it for her. She said it was like having a human baby, but worse because animals don't understand what she says. I thought she was joking, so I laughed and told her she didn't know what it was like to have a real child. And when I noticed she was serious, I was shocked at the nerve and started laughing even more. I told her she knew nothing about motherhood's difficulties, responsibilities, joys and challenges. I said she was being ridiculous. She got very angry with me and hung up the phone. Later, she sent me a message saying I was a terrible sister and that I was arrogant and insensitive. I didn't respond because I think she's being absurd and dramatic. I have nothing against her pets. I even like them, but I don't think they're equivalent to a human child. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I mean, I just left my 2 cats for a whole week alone with someone checking in on them once a night. They survived. You definitely wouldn't be able to do that with a kid. You are the idiot. If your sister is infertile and unable to have her children, I can see why your laughing at her would hurt. She considers those pets as her true babies. It's not at all uncommon. You can be right silently and make the other feel included in the conversation, making a bonding moment, or you can be right out loud at her face laughing, making her feel like crap. When you're right but cannot be kind, you have nothing. I think real mothers must understand they are not the only ones struggling. Yeah, what was even the point of you arguing with her? She didn't belittle you or your experiences as a mother, unless you're leaving that out for some reason. She shared her personal feelings on the matter. She doesn't even sound like someone who dislikes kids, unless, again, you're leaving that out, or thinks they're worse than pets. What was the point in putting her down for not knowing the joys and challenges of being a mother? You seem to be the kind of woman who looks down on another woman for not birthing kids. I think that pet mummies must understand that a pet isn't the same as a child. I suffered from postnatal anxiety, and my neighbour compared it to how she feels when she leaves her dog with her husband. Just no, it feels like an insult, to be honest. Someone once compared my friend's son, who lived for 12 hours, to losing her baby kitten. Like, what the heck? People who act like an animal is anything comparable to birthing and raising children are weird. My wife, 32, and I, male 35, have been married for 5 years. It's been mostly good, though we've had rocky periods because we both needed to mature and because she's battled up and down depression for the past 3 years. Some of our fights get bad, like us shouting at each other, cursing, and sometimes not talking afterward for a day. Working with a marriage counsellor has helped a lot, and those blow-ups are way less common because one of us usually keeps a level head and resolves the issue. She's been in a rough place for the last month because our first pregnancy ended. It was late in the first trimester, but neither expected it. We were both really sad. It's been way harder on her, probably because of the hormone changes, the fact that she's wanted a baby for the last 10 years, and because pregnancy is more personal for her as the one physically bearing the new life. Since then, she's spent most of her time on the sofa, not leaving the house and watching TV. When I'm not at work, I've spent as much time as I can consoling her and just being with her. Fast forward to the past week. A few days ago, she blew up at me after I got home late. I was replying to text messages from my car for about 5 minutes before coming into the house. She was angry when we discussed this because she felt I didn't want to spend time with her. She said a lot of hurtful things and shouted, and I eventually went to bed. It sucked being her punching bag, but I figured she was just going through a lot. The next day, she apologized and said she didn't know what was happening. We spent a lot of time together, received good friends and family support over the weekend, and were in a good spot. Then last night she blew up at me again. It felt dumb. She wanted to keep the TV on in the background while we did insurance paperwork. I told her that I couldn't read the papers with the TV on and that I could go into the other room to read it, or we could turn off the TV. She turned off the TV but was angry. But when I asked what was bothering her, she blew up. But this time it felt like it crossed a line. She was screaming and cursing at me and followed me around the house when I walked away. At one point, she intentionally screamed in my ear and it really hurt. It hurt for the next couple of hours. When I was trying to sleep, she was banging on the door and screaming profanities at me and insulting me and my family. Then I went into another room and held the door shut. It felt like she was trying to hurt me by screaming in my ear and saying those insults about me and my family. The ear pain still makes me angry. She didn't physically hit me, but it felt close to it, and that's messed up in my book. So I slept in the guest room last night, packed clothes for a week and booked a hotel for today. I plan to stay at the hotel after work. I'm not sure what I'll do after. So, am I the idiot for leaving the house and staying elsewhere? Part of me feels like crap because I think she's depressed and going through a hard time, but I don't want to be treated like this. I get that she's depressed, but I can't imagine ever trying to hurt her like that, even if I was crazy angry or in an awful mood. Not sure what to do next. Dude, she's using you as an emotional punching bag. You are not the idiot for leaving. I would even go as far as demanding she gets professional help or you split up for good. Mental illness doesn't give people permission to treat others like crap. You seriously need to have a hard conversation with her about her getting some help because her behavior is unacceptable and cannot continue in your marriage. You did the right thing by leaving. I was married to someone like this. It was awful. Every day I was walking on eggshells, not knowing if I would do something that would upset her. I just wanted to end it all. I felt like the lowest of the low. I felt like I was the problem. It's taken me 15 plus years in counseling to help me overcome this and realize I wasn't the problem in the situation. Her mental issues and past traumas were the issue. This relationship is hurting you. Please get out before she thinks she needs to ratchet it up some more because you weren't listening, was incompetent, or aren't a man. Get out, now. She's going through grief stages on you. What she needs is your help. Make her see her GP, and medication and therapy could help in the short term. I understand leaving as it is a scary situation, but she's probably very lost right now and she needs you right now. Lots of pressure on women to have kids, and for many, the guilt after losing a pregnancy is just too much.